More thunderstorms in the forecast today could lead to additional flooding and wind damage concerns. I'll walk you through the timing and the differences from yesterday coming up.
Also this noon, we're getting a better look at the areas in the triangle that flooded after last night's torrential rain.
Plus, the Children's Hospital for Apex. Why the town is getting a first-of-its-kind facility in our state. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Floodwaters are subsiding, but storm chances return later today. It is a WRAL weather alert day once again. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is outlining the differences in threats and timeline from yesterday.
And, you know, we still have
And following some breaking news right now in the WRAL Live Center, a federal judge has blocked President Trump's birthright citizenship ban for all infants nationwide. This ruling is very significant because just last month, the Supreme Court curbed the power of the lower court judges to issue nationwide injunctions. Now, the judge did say in this case that depriving a person of longstanding rights of birthright citizenship was irreparable harm, and that the birthright citizenship was the greatest privilege that exists in the world. That is the word from the judge. It is almost sure to be quickly appealed by the Trump administration.
Global markets have been reacting to President Trump's latest round of tariff threats. The president sent more letters to countries urging deals with the U.S. by August 1st. NBC's Alice Barr reports businesses are struggling to keep up with the tariff turmoil as consumers brace for the impact.
This afternoon or tomorrow morning.
President Trump reigniting trade tensions with a new series of letters to trading partners imposing tariffs from 20% on imports from the Philippines up to 50% on Brazil.
Brazil, as an example, has been not good to us, not good at all.
The president acknowledging politics played a role in the hefty Brazil tariff, pointing to the prosecution of his ally, former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, for attempting to hold on to power after losing Brazil's 2022 election, calling the trial a witch hunt that should end immediately. President Trump has drawn parallels to his own criminal charges after losing the 2020 election that were dropped when he won in November. Brazil's current president saying the country will not accept being abused and will respond to the tariffs. As President Trump also said, the U.S. has a trade deficit with Brazil, when the U.S. Trade Representative says it was actually a surplus for the U.S. last year. The president asked how his administration arrived at the new tariff rates.
The formula was a formula based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years.
The Senate's top Democrat slamming President Trump for not delivering on his promised 90 trade deals in 90 days.
He kicks the can down the road again and again. He talks a big game but shows little follow-through or strategig understanding.
As the president asserts setting tariffs by letter is a more efficient means to a deal.
Africa Business Summit had recorded.
That was Alice Barr reporting. And a California judge has set a trial date in the Newsom versus President Trump case. The judge will hear evidence and arguments on whether the Trump administration violated what's called the Posse Comitatus Act by deploying members of the California National Guard onto the streets of Los Angeles. The act was passed in 1878 and it bars federal troops from participating in civilian law enforcement except when expressly authorized by law. The bench trial will take place August 11th through the 23rd in San Francisco.
The Trump administration is laying off more than 2,100 senior-ranking employees at NASA. Most of the layoffs include staff that currently serves in core mission areas like science or human spaceflight, while the others work in mission support roles, including information technology. The agency is also without a confirmed administrator. Trump removed Elon Musk ally and billionaire Jared Isaacman from consideration last month during Trump's rift with Musk. Dozens of construction workers are waking up in their own beds after a brush with death.
That's pretty scary. The workers were inside an industrial tunnel 300 to 400 feet below the surface of Los Angeles when it collapsed. They escaped by climbing over a large mound of loose soil and then coming out at the only entrance that was 5 miles away. And without major injury, over 100 first responders met the crew and conducted medical evaluations once they came up to the earth.
What started out as a very frightening evening. I know when we raced down here, I was so concerned that we were going to find tragedy. Instead, what we found was victory. All of the men that were in that tunnel rescued up, safe.
Yeah, back up on the ground.
Amazing, yeah. What a relief. Paramedics examined each of the workers. No one was visibly injured, and no word on what caused the collapse. But for those rescuers, I'm sure they were just cheering so loudly when they got down there and saw everybody is going to be okay.
And then to get them out. Doesn't always end that way, so it was nice. We're having a decent start to our Thursday here, and Kat Campbell's over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now because what we're expecting to be part of this weather alert day is coming later.
Yes, we've got those afternoon and evening storms, and any storms that flare up, they're going to move slow. They're going to dump some heavy rain. We're going to have to watch for some strong winds. But all is quiet right now at Fenton in Cary. You can see some kids out there playing in the grassy area. It's pretty nice right now. Humid, but the clouds are keeping temperatures down for now. Notice, though, at the end of this loop right here, you start to see these darker shades. That's where we've got less cloud cover. The white on satellite is the cloud cover. So we are going to start to see these clouds thinning out during the afternoon. It'll heat up a bit today, and a couple spotty showers out there right now, but not much compared to what could be on the way later today. Storm chances grow during the afternoon and evening hours, peaking at about 60%, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Temperatures still in the 70s right now for most of us. Chapel Hill and Fuquay Arena, as well as Clayton, you've reached the 80s. 79, though, at RDU, 77 in Cary and Wake Forest, 76 in Rollsville. Hello, Holly Springs, 78 degrees there right now. But the humidity is still very high today. 72, the current dew point, and that puts us in the tropical category of the muggy meter. And unfortunately, we're just not going to budge from that in the coming days. We will stay in the tropical category of the muggy meter through next Tuesday. To be honest with you, through the entire month of July, probably. We'll be lucky. Occasionally, we can dip down into the 60s for dew points, but that's as good as it's going to get for July. Tomorrow, 91 degrees the high, but the heat index is up to 99. The heat index will be back in the triple digits over the weekend, likely staying below heat advisory criteria, though. It is going to be heating up. We'll be back up to 94 Sunday and Monday. And the weekend will come with scattered storm chances each day. Tomorrow, about a 30% chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, a 40% chance Saturday, and a 40% chance on Sunday as well. And again, these are going to be later in the day. A pretty typical summer forecast for the weekend. It's hot, it's humid. We'll be on the lookout for those scattered late day thunderstorms. And I want to encourage you, with these summertime thunderstorms, it's going to be a much better tool if you're out at, say, a birthday party, you're out at the pool. Open up the WRAL weather app and check in on the radar when you see dark clouds. Instead of using your hour-by-hour rain chances, that's really going to be your best tool during the summer months to see where the storms are. 89 degrees the high today, a WRAL weather alert day in place due to the flood watch that is in effect. We also have the chance for some storms with strong winds. 91 tomorrow, and we'll have a level 1 risk for storms continuing into the weekend likely, along with a low flood risk. But the risk should be a bit lower through the weekend. Early next week, it's a similar pattern. After all, it is July, but coming up, I'm going to take a look at the summer so far in terms of where we stand on temperatures and rainfall, and one of those might surprise you.
Okay, looking forward to that. Kat, thank you. Preparing for emergencies. Flash floods have amplified the need for emergency alerts to keep people safe, but it's easy to miss those alerts with your phone cluttered with notifications. Today on WRAL News at 4, how emergency response agencies strike a balance so you don't ignore another alert on your phone.
Well water warning. Those recent floods have tainted some private wells. How you can check your water safety tonight at 5 on WRAL. And still ahead this noon, close encounter. 2 paddleboarders come within feet of a great white shark. Just ahead, we'll share their stunning story.
Plus, competing with Google, why the company behind ChatGPT wants to offer its own web browser. OpenAI will release an AI-powered web browser that could compete with Google Chrome. The browser is set to launch in the coming weeks. It aims to use artificial intelligence to change how people browse the internet. The new product is part of OpenAI's broader strategy to capture data on users' web behavior.
Stunning new images off a Massachusetts beach are making the rounds. A paddleboarder in the water with the fin of a great white shark just feet away from her. Sam Brock spoke with the student who joked that the shark was lost and was just stopping for directions.
It was a split second.
Oh, Maddie?
That felt like a shark-filled eternity for Margaret Bowles.
We were obviously shocked to see that fin pop up.
Marine scientists soon confirming that this dorsal fin, protruding from the water by Woods Hole, Massachusetts, where the Harvard student was paddleboarding, belonged to a great white shark.
Never expect to run into the apex predator out there.
Shark sightings have been grabbing headlines all summer, from this stunning aerial of a great white shark swimming off the coast of Montauk, New York, to a 20-foot basking shark that popped up in a Rhode Island bay.
So you were perched on that deck?
Yes, sir.
Right out in the water over your shoulder, that's where you saw the shark?
Yeah.
Then, only weeks ago,
How are you, sweetheart?
9-year-old Leah Lendell nearly had her hand severed from a shark attack in Florida.
Something hard bit me and then it tried to take me away.
Surgeons working for 6 hours to put Leah's hand back together. Bowles, for her part, just feeling fortunate that this chance encounter was harmless.
The dorsal fin was around 4 feet away from her board, which would have put the head about a foot away.
I mean, does that terrify you?
I think, again, a near miss is still a miss.
The Atlantic Shark Institute says it's quite rare to see a great white shark that far away from the Cape. They also this year had their earliest great white sighting ever in neighboring Rhode Island.
This is Sam Brock reporting.
Now, the last confirmed sighting of a great white in Buzzards Bay was in 2004. It's more than 25 years ago.
I want to tempt fate. Sounds like they are. New developments in the murder case involving a UNC student killed in 2012. Just ahead, what court documents reveal.
Also ahead, on a collision course with nature, why experts say drivers have a higher chance of hitting wildlife during full moons.
After every night of rain and flash flooding, we are keeping a close watch on the next system that could pour down on us later today.
Let's check back in with meteorologist Kat Campbell. And Kat, the timing on this similar to last night as far as this being in the evening and nighttime hours.
Yes, we're going to see these storms move in a little bit later. You may have some spotty storms during the afternoon hours, though, but they'll be more widespread once we get to the evening. The flood watch does remain in effect until late tonight. This is for the entire area. On top of the flood watch, we also have a level 1 threat for severe weather. I do want to reassure you, the flood risk today is a little lower than it was last night, certainly lower than Sunday, and the severe weather risk is a little bit lower than last night as well. However, there still could be a spot or two that deals with flash flooding as we head into the evening hours. So we have to be cognizant of that, and we have to let you know in advance. Right now, some showers around Nash County, not too impactful at this point, but we'll watch for growing coverage during the afternoon and especially the evening hours. You can see a couple of storms at 3 o'clock. I wouldn't take the location of these two literally during the summer months on Futurecast. Just look at how many storms there are to get a good idea of what to expect. And by 5 o'clock, we've got a lot more thunderstorms out there, and we'll stay that way into the evening through about sunset tonight, and then very slowly we should see this activity die down. Jeff and Renee.
Kat, thank you. A man who died after his car was swept away in floodwaters on Sunday night has been identified.
Alamance County officials identified him as 72-year-old James Parcell from Haw River. First responders found his car off the road covered in water when they got to that scene.
Expert witnesses, more testing, and new allegations, all of these documented in new motions filed in the Faith Hedgepeth case.
And that UNC student was murdered in 2012. Miguel Enrique Salguero Olivares was charged with killing her. WRAL's Monica Casey is live at the Durham County Courthouse.
Monica, tell us about these new filings.
Well, Salguero Olivares attorneys have filed 3 new motions. One of them asks to call an out-of-state witness. A second motion is notifying the court they'll be calling an expert witness. And a third motion is a request for the release of more evidence. Now, a lot of this centers on a Bacardi rum bottle and the bloody fingerprints on it. That bottle was found next to Hedgepeth's body. According to the defense, Chapel Hill police sent that bottle to the SBI to test fingerprints on it. The SBI's report said the fingerprints couldn't be identified, but the defense plans to call an expert witness who will testify the 2 bloody thumbprints on the bottle do not match Salguero Olivares. They also want to examine that bottle to try to match those fingerprints to other people in this case. Now, the out-of-state witness the defense wants to call is a former UNC student who was friendly with Hedgepeth and her roommate. His testimony would center on his interactions with Hedgepeth's roommate on the day of the murder. The next administrative hearing in this case is set for October of this year. We will keep you updated. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Our county-by-county coverage takes us to Lee, Chatham, and Orange counties. There's a public input session Saturday about Lee County's plan to improve street safety. That session runs from 8:30 a.m. to noon at the Sanford Farmers Market. The goal is to cut traffic deaths and improve safety for all. The safety action plan is expected to be complete by the end of this year. Once adopted, Lee County, the city of Sanford, and the town of Broadway will be prepared to apply for federal funding for infrastructure improvements. The Chatham County Community Library is teaming up with the American Red Cross for a blood drive on Monday. That will be from 10 to 3 in Pittsboro. There's an urgent need for type O donors. Now, if you give by July 31st, you will get a $20 e-gift card or $25 if you're eligible for a Power Red donation. The event is at 197 NC 87 in the Holmes Family Meeting Room. Clayton is hosting a public meeting tonight to share plans for upcoming roadway and pedestrian upgrades. This includes improvements to the Clayton Connector and South Robertson Main Street. Residents can stop by to learn more, ask questions about future transportation projects. The meeting is tonight from 6 to 7:30 at Town Hall.
If you're planning a road trip this summer, avoid hitting the streets during a full moon. Here's why. Environmental engineers say that's when there's an increased risk for car crashes with wildlife. Ted Linder shares some advice for people who just can't avoid traveling.
With more people taking to the streets for summertime road trips, some folks may be out traveling later than others. But would-be drivers may want to avoid staying out when the moon is at its brightest. Research from Dr. Dominic Lord of Texas A&M University found there's a 46% increase in car crashes with wildlife during a full moon.
And this risk is very serious.
After collecting 10 years of collision data across Texas, Dr. Lord and his team believe wildlife animals are more active during full moons.
Since they're able to see more, they may be able to be more active to hunt at night. And because of that, they are probably more likely to cross roads.
This is especially true in more rural areas.
In urban areas, there's a light pollution, so the wildlife is probably less affected by the lighting of the surroundings. Whereas in rural areas, we don't have as much street lights.
Hitting an animal with a vehicle is tragic, and the impacts can be especially devastating. If a car hits an animal, its height is at or above the windshield.
The main body of the animal will go through the windshield and can injure and even fatally injured the vehicle occupants.
But swerving to avoid animals can also be problematic.
Because if you try to swerve very heavily or strongly, you can lose control of the vehicle, you can roll over.
That was Ted Linder reporting. The next full moon, by the way, tonight.
So if you must drive, experts recommend reducing normal speeds and increasing your alertness. To keep that in mind when we're driving into work at dark 30.
Right
Jeff,
on.
yeah.
Testosterone misconceptions coming up. We explain some of the symptoms and causes, plus what doctors say about those testosterone boosting supplements you see advertised just about everywhere.
Also ahead, a virus behind Parkinson's disease, what new research reveals, and why it could help doctors treat the illness. A new study suggests Parkinson's disease may be linked to a virus once thought harmless. Researchers at Northwestern Medicine discovered traces of the human pegivirus, a blood-borne virus in the same family as hepatitis C, in the brains of patients with Parkinson's. It's not known to cause illness, but scientists now think it could play a role in triggering the disease. That opens the door to the possibility of repurposing hepatitis C treatments to help people with Parkinson's. But doctors stress more research is needed before clinical trials begin.
There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to low testosterone, and that can cause confusion for men. So how can they know whether they really have low T or if they're dealing with something else? Testosterone helps men with things like muscle growth, metabolism, and energy. Low testosterone is more common in older men, but it can happen at any age and be caused by other medical issues like obesity, cancer treatment, and testicular damage. Doctors say the symptoms can also be caused by other conditions, so low testosterone may be part of a bigger picture.
It takes a conversation as well as the labs to try and tease out, well, what part of this is testosterone? What part of this could be something else related to other lifestyle factors? What other medical conditions do you have? And then put it all together in a way that makes sense for that person that's sitting in front of you.
Doctors warn against taking supplements that can claim to help boost testosterone. They are not regulated by the FDA and often contain contaminants or substances that have never been proven to improve testosterone. Price check. A recent Consumer Reports investigation found many grocery stores are overcharging people. Still to come this noon, the steps you can take to make sure you are not overpaying.
Plus, a better flip phone. Samsung says its latest model is unique. We'll explain why. Imagine picking up an item on sale only to be charged full price at checkout. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur found that it's taking place at several local grocery stores. She shares where they are and what you can do about it.
People call Keely when they've been misbilled. And here's how I caught local grocery stores overcharging customers on sale items. A recent investigation found shoppers at Kroger-owned stores like Harris Teeter were overcharging customers by an average of 18%. One retired Holly Springs teacher told me his Harris Teeter charged him 120% more than the sale price of Tostitos. That got us thinking, how common is this? So I went to Aldi, Walmart, and back to Harris Teeter to find out. We found pricing errors on water at Walmart and produce at Aldi. In both cases, I was overcharged, but cashiers quickly corrected the totals when I pointed them out. Funnily enough, our bill at Harris Teeter was accurate. All 3 stores say they are working to keep their prices accurate. But why is this even happening? The investigation found overworked staff is required to change up to 15,000 sale tags on any given week. So here's what I want you to do. Snap a pic of sales tags. That way you can cross-reference it at checkout. And if you notice a problem, I want you to report it. There's a division within the state agriculture department that actually audits for pricing errors and finds stores with repeated issues. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
Keely walks you through how to report a pricing error at any North Carolina store on our website and social media pages. Tonight, only on WRAL News at 6, she shares what stores are doing to combat the problem.
Samsung is banking on a comeback for flip phones. The company just rolled out the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7. sleeker, lighter versions of its foldable phones. So far, Apple stayed out of the foldable game. The new Fold 7 is priced just under $2,000, about 5% more than last year's model. According to analysts, Samsung tackled some of the long-standing complaints about foldables, especially the bulk. This latest Fold is 10% lighter, 26% thinner than its predecessor. Pre-orders opened yesterday with devices set to hit shelves starting July 25th.
Look at how sleek that looks.
It is.
Oh. That'd be fun to get.
They're rolling them out and making them sleeker.
Just trying to keep up with tech, I tell you.
Absolutely. Well, Apple doesn't do it, so. Kat Campbell's over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now as we roll out this look at radar here for the rest of the day. It's going to get a little bit dicey around here.
And we're watching a thunderstorm that's already developed just east of Wayne County. It started to develop in southeastern Wayne County. It is drifting off to the east, so it should continue to move away from our area. However, we are closely monitoring these storms through the evening hours, and there are going to be a lot more of them probably this evening. Now, still not a washout day. Let's talk about how much rain fell last night. The worst hit area was closer to High Point. That's where there were some rainfall totals that got into the yellows, 4 to 6 inch totals, even locally higher in spots. For us, it was Durham County, Orange County, Granville County, Vance County, Person counties that saw some of the worst of the weather last night. That's where we had some totals closer to 2 inches, especially around Durham, where we had the worst of the flooding and water rescues. We had just over 1.5 inches, closer to 2 inches in downtown Raleigh. Even Cary saw nearly 2 inches, as well as Apex. As you headed south toward Fuquay Marina, Garner, a lot less rain. So it was really from Raleigh points north and west that we had the bulk of the rain. And let's talk about just how much rain we've had this summer. We aren't quite on the record books by any means for RDU, but we are running about 3/4 of an inch above normal for rainfall. Still 21st place on the records. Temperatures, a record, and this is season to date. Of course, we're not done with the summer months yet. June, July, and August are considered meteorological summer, but we're running about 4.5 degrees above normal, which puts us in first place for the hottest summer so far. Raleigh looking quiet out there, not much of a breeze to cool you down at the state legislative building. And we've got a lot of clouds still lingering. The clouds will thin a little bit into the afternoon, but they're going to help to keep temperatures down. We may not hit 90 today. That would be nice. Unfortunately, the humidity isn't making it feel much better outside. As we look ahead for the afternoon, later in the afternoon, we'll have a better chance for thunderstorms. So try to get your walk in quickly. This weekend, it's pretty summer-like, just a seasonal summer weekend. It's hot, it's humid. Afternoon and evening storms are in the forecast each day. Tomorrow morning, we should be off to a quiet start. Storms shouldn't be as widespread tomorrow, though. There will be a couple of storms that pop up during the afternoon hours and linger through sunset tomorrow night. As we look ahead to Saturday, likely to start out dry in the morning, but during the afternoon and evening hours, we'll have about a 40% chance of storms. So yesterday and today were the higher coverage thunderstorm days. This weekend, it's going to be more scattered, more spotty, and really seem more like your typical summer weather instead of widespread showers and storms. Once we get to the weekend, temperatures do climb, though, thanks to a little bit more sunshine. High temperatures are back up in the mid-90s by Sunday and Monday. And tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, the heat index should be topping out near the triple digits once again. So make sure that if you work outside, you are staying hydrated. Jeff and Renee?
Will do. Kat, thank you. A Colorado museum's amazing discovery.
And it was right under their feet.
Finding a bone in a rock core is super, super rare. It is the Willy Wonka moment of a geologist's career.
Just ahead, the creature this bone likely belonged to. And here, have a look at your winning Powerball numbers on your screen. Okay, let's have another look at our winning Powerball numbers. Worth reading them out to you. 5, 9, 25, 28, 69. The Powerball is 5. The multiplier is 2.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
A new standalone children's hospital is coming to Apex. This is a partnership between UNC Health and Duke Health. The hospital will have 500 beds, a behavioral health center, ambulatory care, and research facilities. The multi-billion-dollar project is expected to bring as many as 8,000 jobs to Wake County. It'll be built in the Viridia development. Construction is expected to begin in 2027. It'll take about 6 years to build.
An update into the years-long investigation into the death of a UNC student who was murdered in 2012. Attorneys for the man suspected of killing Faith Hedgepeth in her off-campus apartment have filed 3 new motions. Miguel Enrique Salguero Oliveras is charged with her murder. The new motions call for an out-of-state witness and request the release of more evidence. That witness is a former UNC student who knew Hedgepeth and her roommate. The next court hearing is scheduled for October.
Most recent round of rain brought flooding to Raleigh and made the situation in Durham and Orange counties even worse. Flash flood warnings expired early this morning, but Cat Campbell has said another round of rain is coming tonight. Several roads in Raleigh were blocked overnight and into the morning due to some minor flooding. That water has since receded. Meanwhile, cleanup and damage assessment continues in other areas.
A museum in Denver, Colorado made a huge discovery right under its visitors' feet. The museum was conducting a drilling project back in the winter. So scientists decided to take this as an opportunity to do some coring research, never imagining that this is what would be found. This is a nearly 70-million-year-old partial bone lying 765 feet beneath the museum's parking lot. It's the oldest and deepest dinosaur fossil ever discovered in Denver.
So one of the things we know about this dinosaur bone is that it probably came from a plant-eating dinosaur that lived maybe near ponds and swamps back in the day when Colorado was a tropical, wetter place than it is right now.
So here's a look at what scientists say the dinosaur might have looked like. But since they only found the partial vertebra, it's hard to say what exact species it was. It was right there all along.
Right? Way down deep, though.
Time for our pet of the day. This is Salmon. He's a 7-year-old neutered male dog weighing 68 pounds, very sweet and very food motivated. He has done well with cats, other dogs, and kids. Salmon can be a little anxious at times when people, places, or noises seem unfamiliar, but he warms up very quickly. His favorite activities, lying next to his favorite people. Salmon's adoption fee is waived. It includes his neuter, microchip, vaccines, and other wellness care. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. And be careful of that weather. Be weather aware today. And have a great day.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.